What's going on, everybody? Hot Sauce Z here. So EA released a new Battlefield briefing today that goes through a massive amount of changes that are coming to Battlefield 2042 in the next couple of weeks. They've actually got 3 updates that they mention in this briefing. The first one is coming as early as Thanksgiving here in the US, so that's November 25th for those that are not in the US. Then there's going to be another update in early December, and then probably a third update before Christmas, so expect that around mid-December. I'm going to try my best to do a quick overview on kind of the highlights of this briefing here on YouTube, but I did actually record a full run-through of the entire briefing, read out the whole thing, and reacted to a lot of the bullet points while I did so, and I'm going to probably make that available audio form only on my podcast. But we'll try and keep things short and sweet here on YouTube. Before I get into things, if you enjoy this kind of content and would like to see more, please be sure to like this video if you enjoy it. It's okay if you want to dislike it as well. And if you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on. I upload shorts and I'm getting into streaming and stuff like that over here on YouTube as well. I plan on having a lot more 2042 content go up as we go through the game. But without further ado, let's get into the highlights of this new briefing that EA released today for Battlefield 2042. Right off the bat, they mentioned that there's already millions of people playing Battlefield 2042. There might have been millions of people that checked it out. As far as concurrent goes, I doubt there's anywhere close to 1 million people playing it. They also mentioned that they're happy to see a lot of us back on the battlefield. They say it's almost twice as many at this point as their last release, which, I mean, go figure, because you literally told people not to buy your last release, so no surprise there. You didn't do that this time, people wanted to play. But anyways, they go on to mention that they are carefully evaluating our desire to see legacy features return, such as the end-of-match scoreboard, server browser, and features like voice chat. Those are, big things we've heard a lot of people complain about. The way they word it here in this, they say end-of-match scoreboard. That kind of makes me think that we're not going to see an in-round scoreboard like we're used to seeing. That may not be something they can add, and they're kind of careful with the language here, I think, to kind of hint at that. So they're saying maybe we can see an end-of-match scoreboard, but not pressing tab and seeing it currently in-game, which is a little bit of a bummer. I'm one of those people that, I like to see how I stack up in any given server. I'm kind of one of those people that likes to play competitively, and I like to see how I'm doing, as I find it kind of motivating to see, like, myself, middle of the pack. I need to step it up. I need to get better. So they're careful with the language there, just something to be aware of if you're one of those people that wants to see the return of an in-game scoreboard. Doesn't sound like we're going to get that. But as far as what updates are coming, they do mention here that there is going to be 3 updates upcoming before Christmas here. They say they're going to be delivering update number 2 for the game on Thursday, November 25th. That's going to be followed by a further, more substantial update, number 3, in early December. And then they say they're also working on another update that they are looking to deploy in advance of the holidays. So that one's probably going to be mid-December. They say they're also not going to give us any updates on Season 1 of the Battle Pass until early 2022. That's something we expected, but they reiterate that here. So anyways, let's get into kind of the 3 or 4 big things that they're bringing with this update, and we'll talk through those real quick just to give you guys an idea. The first one they begin talking about is performance and server stability. This is a massive problem that players that have jumped in since early access and the early full release have kind of brought to light. There's a lot of issues with this, so I'm glad to see them addressing this. They absolutely had to. Let's see what they've got in store for us. As far as servers go, they say we are largely seeing our services perform at our intended target levels following numerous back-end changes since launch. Stability of the game has continued to be strong from launch. However, there are still some critical issues that you may experience when playing on servers that we are keen to resolve quickly. They say that stability of the game has continued to be strong from launch. That seems very disillusioned to me. I would argue completely opposite. But, DICE, you do you, I guess. I'm glad you're addressing it regardless. They then say in very rare instances, we're seeing that our servers aren't correctly registering hit markers. What? Very rare? I'd see this problem all the time. Perhaps spread is more of an issue than we thought, and they address spread later, but DICE seems to be under the impression that the hit marker issue and hit reg in this game is a rare issue, which, again, I would beg to differ. But at least they're looking at it, and they are going to develop some fixes, or have developed some fixes already for hit reg. That's a positive note. Looks like they're also going to fix the breakthrough servers that are incorrectly starting the flow at the beginning of a round. So we're going to have less instances, or hopefully no instances, of servers that you join that are just on that infinite ticket thing where the server's bugged. So they're fixing that. They also have a paragraph in here about people playing on PCs. They say they want to acknowledge that many of you are finding the performance of the game is presently CPU bound, and not enough of you who are fortunate enough to enjoy high-end GPUs and CPUs are seeing the benefit of consistent high frame rates. Identifying engine-level optimizations and developing solutions will require a lengthier response time from us so that it gets done right. Short-term, we'll be doing all we can to help offer performance improvements that reduce the load and up your frame rates where possible. We'll keep you updated on our work through our Battlefield channels. So this sounds to me, it's kind of like Hardware Unboxed was talking about in his video about being CPU bound in Battlefield 2042. This is something they're probably really not going to be able to do a lot about. It says that they're going to try, and that's good, but as far as like for these coming updates, it doesn't sound like they're going to have any improvements as far as hardware and optimizations in the game go. It sounds like it's going to continue to be pretty much a low frame rate game for the time being. That's unfortunate, but hopefully they can do some tweaks, but it sounds like there's not going to be a lot of improvements there. But that's what they have for us as far as performance and server stability go. They then go into talking about gunplay and balance, which is another big thing we've had issues with as we've been playing the game here in the early launch window. The first thing they mention is the mouse input settings being off, feeling weird. That was something we noticed in the beta. It seems somewhat fixed in the launch version for hipfire, but the ADS sends still feels off. They say they've targeted some things that are creating that issue, and they say that they've done a great deal of investigation around it and have been able to validate that some settings are not properly applying. They have developed a fix for this though, and they're targeting the third upcoming update for this. So us PC players should have better input come about mid-December. The big thing they're mentioning in this section is the spread of the weapons, specifically ARs. They say that we have observed that on many weapons, predominantly on assault rifles like the AK-24, the spread tends to be too high, especially when moving while zoomed, which causes problematic engagements in the average combat distances of our maps. That's something I've been remarking on as I play the game and I stream it. The AR is just, the spread is too much, right? And average engagement distance in this game could be anywhere from 30 to 50 meters. And with the spread like what they have currently implemented in the game, it just doesn't make for a very rewarding experience. But they are addressing that in the coming updates, so we can look forward to reduced spread values for ARs. Pretty much across the board, it sounds like they've lowered spread for a lot of weapons and improved accuracy. So that's something we can look forward to. Hopefully it's going to be more in line with what we saw in the beta, where the gunplay felt a lot more satisfying. They do mention also something that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in here. They are nerfing the Pp29 by increasing the vertical recoil on that weapon. They want to make sure that it does not overperform when engaging outside of its intended combat range. So there is a slight Pp29 nerf inbound. That coupled with reducing the spread on a lot of the other weapons, I think we're going to see a lot more diversified gun choices in the game. Beyond that, though, they go on to talk about that they are indeed nerfing the hovercraft. This is something they mentioned they were going to do on Twitter. They're going to reduce the health on it and probably tweak the weapons on it as well, just judging by what they're talking about in here. They're doing something similar with some of the cannons on the Nightbird. So some vehicle nerfs are inbound. Hopefully that'll get rid of kind of the hover meta. I'm curious to see that they don't mention the Bolty in here. That's another one that has really risen to a lot of prominence now that people have kind of unlocked it. That vehicle is very strong as well, but that's not mentioned at all in this article. So hopefully they can become aware of that more quickly rather than, later, because that it's just going to switch. Like everybody's going to switch from using hovercraft to the Bolty. Like it pretty much already has happened. So hopefully they're aware of that as well. Other than that, though, things start getting like really nitty gritty, and that's probably beyond the scope of this overview video. They are or have already re-enabled some XP and XP caps in portal modes, so we should be able to begin earning XP in those, and they've significantly reduced the likelihood of XP farm servers being set up. So that's a good thing, it allows us to earn some XP and have a little bit more meaningful gameplay within Portal itself. So the rest of the article, they go in and they just start talking about like really nitty-gritty stuff. Again, probably beyond the scope of this, but I wanted to kind of release an overview video of some of the big things that I saw. There's a ton of just minor things that they've fixed, some things I haven't even noticed. There's a lot of really good UI changes coming with these updates over the next couple of weeks, so I really look forward to those. There's some things that are getting a lot better in the HUD, and other balance changes and stuff as well. So lots of stuff in here. I really encourage you guys to take a read of that. If you don't want to read it, again, I'm probably going to edit up the entire audio of me just reading through it and put it in audio form so you guys can kick back, put that on, and listen as I read through the whole thing. But again, beyond the scope of this video. But that will about wrap things up here. Those are the big changes that we're going to be seeing in Battlefield 2042 over the next coming weeks. They're looking, just to summarize, they're looking at tweaking performance and stability a little bit more. They've got some fixes coming in for that. And the big thing is really that they're reducing the spread for the other automatic weapons, so we should see a lot more diversified weapon selections as far as loadouts go, and that'll be nice. We won't see the PP29 meta near as much, and so I look forward to that. But yeah, we're seeing, I think, a pretty good set of patch notes here to begin with. We'll see if this trend continues. It is encouraging, I guess we'll put it that way. It's an encouraging pace here that we're seeing. Now, we saw a lot of changes like this with Battlefield 5 when it first launched, and they started throwing a bunch of patches out, and as they were patching things would tend to break as they release these patches. And I would fully prepare yourselves to see that kind of thing happening with Battlefield 2042 as well, especially given the scope of the game. So I would expect more things to break over the course of the next couple weeks, especially as they are, this game is just, it's more complex, and this is quite a few things that are changing. So hopefully it comes out net positive and more things are fixed than break, but we will see. But that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, again, please be sure to give it a like. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a dislike, and consider subscribing to the channel as well if you enjoy this. I plan to get a lot more 2042 content out. I want to put together a settings guide and get a bunch of other things together as well. I'm also going to start streaming over here on this platform as well, more frequently. I'm currently on Twitch, but working on getting some YouTube streams implemented as well. So if you like seeing some live gameplay, or if you like watching live gameplay after the fact, just sit down, watch some gameplay, I will be catering to that audience as well. Anyways, I've been Hot Sauce Z, and I will see you guys next time.